Hello everyone. I'm pretty excited for today's video. I've been trying to think of like other stuff I can do on this channel that's not just like reaction kind of stuff, and a lot of the music reviewers that I like to watch, they will actually post like vinyl updates or like what kind of vinyls they've collected lately, and like I don't have like a ton of vinyls. I only have like 5. And honestly the last one I got was like probably like a year ago. So I kind of stopped collecting them for a while, but the vinyls that I have, they're like some of my favorite albums, and I think it would just be a really cool idea to kind of just go through these vinyls and honestly I haven't looked at them in like since I got them, because my goal of collecting these vinyls was to frame them on a wall and not really like, I didn't really care to play them that much. It was more just displaying them on my wall, just making it look nice and stuff like that. I like how I had my vinyls set up, but at the same time it was kind of like messy, and so I just decided if I'm going to take them down and kind of rearrange them, I might as well, take a look at them, kind of open, see what's inside. And like when it comes to vinyl, sometimes it would be like posters or like things you can hang on your wall, and I love that. So like a lot of the stuff that was inside the vinyls I took out and I hung on my wall. So I'll show like pictures of like maybe like the posters that were inside the vinyl, because obviously they're not inside them anymore because I took them out. But I'm going to go in order of like which vinyl I got first, and I got like 3 vinyls at one time, so like the first 3, maybe even 4, there's not really like a particular order. Like I got them all at once, so like I really got them all at the same time is what I'm trying to say. So this first album that I'm going to talk about is probably one of the most, if not the most, like influential album that I listened to growing up for me personally. So this album came out, I want to say, when I was in 8th grade, maybe entering freshman year of high school. And so this album is Under Pressure by Logic, and this is absolutely one of my favorite albums of all time. It's just perfect in every single way. It's kind of falling out, oh god. I love the cover art in general. I think the cover art of his face just being, just graffitied on this wall. And his hometown is in Maryland, so Maryland. So like, so it looks like it's the exact same wall, but just his face disappeared. And obviously you have the track list. And when it comes to this album, I really don't think there's any skips for me. The intro is amazing with that. He has like this amazing like piano ballad that he comes in with. And Logic can sing. Like a lot of people don't know this, but Logic, he can sing. I don't know why I keep looking like this. Like y'all are not seeing. This is not where the camera is. The camera's right there. Logic can sing though. Now when it comes to Soul Food, the second track on this album, Soul Food is absolutely a top 5 Logic track for me. It's just so good, and it just the way he spits on it, and just the second half of it with the beat switch up and how he comes in. This isn't supposed to be too long of a video, so I mean, if you guys want me to talk more about like these albums specifically and break them down for you, I would love to do that. But obviously I don't want to make this video too long. So I love Buried Alive, I love Bounce, I love Nicki's great song Under Pressure, obviously the title track. Under Pressure is also like just a very nostalgic track for me. Like, so when I think of this album, I think of 8th grade, 9th grade David sitting in his room at his mom's house, and I just remember I had this big recliner. Don't know why, for little old me, I had this big recliner just sitting in my room, and I had like I don't know if it was an iPod Shuffle, an iPod Touch, but like that's what I had at the time. And like at the time you had to buy songs from like iTunes and like transfer to your iPod or iPod Touch like locally. Like you couldn't even like, there was no cloud, there was no streaming service. You had to like download it to your iPod. And I remember this album was one of those albums definitely that was on there a lot, with like a lot of old Mac Miller. And yeah, this album I just had a lot of good memories, and I still listen to it all the time when I'm at work. And yeah, this album is pretty great. So if you guys want me to break it down for you more, I'd love to. Ooh. Like I said, I haven't even really looked at these discs, because like as soon as I got them, I looked at them for like a few minutes. What am I doing? I looked at them for a few minutes, and then I just put them on my wall, because that was really what the whole point of collecting them was just to display them. This one's pretty cool too. It has like Logic kind of like passed out in the studio. You probably can't even see that. And then like on the other side has like a keyboard, and it has like a cigarette kind of like burnt out like on the touchpad. And it's cool because like track 10 is Nicki, and for those who don't know, track 10 Nicki is it's like a symbolic song in a way about nicotine and Logic's like nicotine addiction and how he dealt with it and stuff like that. So I honestly I would have never noticed that if I hadn't looked at this. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so his next vinyl is The Human Condition by John Bellion. Now let me tell you about Mr. John Bellion. I haven't really listened to, because I have another John Bellion album sitting here, Glorious on Prep, the one that comes after The Human Condition. And I will say I haven't listened to one of his albums in a pretty long time, so I probably need to dive back into one of these. But I will say, when I was really into John Bellion, probably like towards the end of my college years, maybe like my junior year, senior year of college. Sorry, brain stopped working for a second. When I was really into John Bellion, I would listen to his music non-stop. And I want to say John Bellion is absolutely one of the most creative music geniuses in the music industry, and absolutely underrated as hell. And you know, like I said, I don't really listen to him much anymore, and I should listen to him again. He just has a certain vision for things that, like, I want to say, like, most people in the music industry would not pick up. They would not notice it. They would not create it. And also a lot of these songs that you're hearing on the radio today, because he's been pretty silent since Glorious on Prep. I think a lot of these songs that you're hearing on the radio, he wrote them. He either wrote them, he co-wrote them, he had like some part of it. I know he's worked on a lot of songs that Justin Bieber's put out. I think Holy by Justin Bieber and Chance the Rapper. He actually wrote that song, I think, or co-wrote it. And just look at this album cover. I mean, that was another thing that I was always so impressed with John Bellion. Is, I mean, it literally looks like a Disney movie. I mean, I want to say this is. I'm gonna show you guys Glorious on Prep in a second. It's hard to decide which cover art I like better, but I mean, I honestly don't know exactly what's going on in this picture. But the thing I love about his album arts is just everything that's going on in the background. All these side characters that I don't even know if you can see. I mean, it's just I can't even go into detail. Like, it's just amazing. I just hit my lip. Ow. It's just amazing. So when I'm looking at this track list, you got He Is the Same, which is a great intro. But when I think about songs that like really like hit home for me, and like that really made me love this album, 80s Films, super nostalgic song. Like for me, and just listening to it in general. Like if you listen to that song, you know what I mean. All Time Low, which I think everyone, if you've heard any songs by John Bellion, you've probably heard All Time Low for sure. That was his big hit that came out for this record. New York Soul Part 2. Whew. I also forgot about the rap side of John Bellion and just how that boy can rap. Like, seriously, like, when it comes to songs like New York Soul Part 2, Adult Swim that's on Glorious on Prep, like, oh man, okay, I'm gonna listen to him again. I think one of these days I'm gonna listen to this again for sure. Maybe I Don't Know, Woke the Fuck Up, Overwhelming, Guillotine, oh my god. And then Hand of God, the outro. Probably one of the best outros I've ever heard on an album. If you want to listen to this on your own, I would skip this next part, but essentially on the outro, he combines a bunch of melodies and songs from the past songs on this album. I think songs like He Is the Same, I think 80s Films, Overwhelming, just a few examples. And he somehow brings those melodies into this final big arrangement of a chorus and I think strings and I forget the guy who does the vocals. It's not Travis Mendez, I don't think, but he has one of his friends who comes in the studio and he lays down some vocals. He has some like amazing runs with the melodies, and it's just something that if you love music, you have to listen to it. It's something I've never. It's just something that it's like a once in a lifetime kind of song in my opinion. It's called Hand of God. I will say these clear discs. I'm like I said, I'm not really into vinyl like that. These clear discs are really cool. So as I mentioned, the third vinyl that I'm going to show you guys is Glorious Sound Prep by also Mr. John Bellion. And this one has like a lot more, not meaning to it, but I guess a lot more significance in regards to that. This was really the first album that got me into Jon Bellion. Like, and I know it's surprising, because like before this album came out, I had heard bits and pieces of The Human Condition, but I don't think I ever heard it all the way throughout, so I never really got into Jon Bellion like that. And then I remember it was like, I think it was my sophomore year of college, I was like walking in my film class. I don't know how I remember this, but I think Jon Bellion had either just released the album, or I think he released Conversations with My Wife. I think it was the lead single for this album. I gave it a try. I ended up really liking the song. And then I think he released JT, and I also really liked that one. And then obviously he released the album, and I was like, you know what? Let's just give it a shot. And I absolutely loved the album. Like I said, this is what got me into Jon Bellion. And after that, obviously, I listened to Human Condition front and back, The Definition, and then that's really how this my journey of Jon Bellion got started. And when it comes to Glory Sound Prep, like I said, I was a sophomore in college when I first started getting into it. And it's a pretty short album compared to The Human Condition, but when it comes to the substance and the content that is within this album, whew, it has some deep songs, some fun songs, it's really similar to The Human Condition, like, not sound-wise, but like, I guess emotion-wise, in terms of, it has a very emotional outro, and Ma's joint. Let me show you guys like the back of it, what I'm looking at. As I mentioned, it's not too long of an album, so not a lot of songs. But Conversations with My Wife, great lead single. JT, great single. Let's Begin. Now that's a fantastic song, because like I said, it's another song where he raps on. Stupid Deep. Absolutely one of my favorite Jon Bellion songs. I think. Oh yeah. That was the third single that he released for this album. Amazing song. One of my favorite Jon Bellion songs. Blues amazing. Adult Swim, as I mentioned. I think that's absolutely my favorite song that he raps on. Amazing song. Cautionary Tales is amazing, and then the amazing outro, like I mentioned. Incredible album for sure, one of my favorites of all time. So there is a poster that is supposed to be in here, but I hung it up on the left of me, on this wall that's to the left of me. So I'll put a picture of it. It's pretty cool. It's just him in his Glory Sound Prep suit that he wears in like the animated trailers and stuff like that. Ooh. Okay. This is the best disc. Ooh. Oh my. That is so like cool to look at. Like I can't stop looking at it. Okay, so this next vinyl I think will throw a few people through a loop. Will probably be the most like unrecognizable one in my opinion. So also in college I had a phase where I listened to this band called Wallows, and they're like an indie band, and this band that I listened to, this was like the only band or artist that was in this genre that I listened to. I didn't really listen to any other artists that kind of made similar music, or bands that made similar music. So it was kind of like a really unique, like, I guess listening experience for me when I was really into this band. And so this band, or this record or album, is Nothing Happens by the band Wallows. And I want to say, I haven't really checked out their new stuff, but Nothing Happens, this album is also, I'm gonna say for each album that it's one of my favorites, because like these albums, I got them because they're my favorites, so like don't be surprised if I repeat myself. But this album is, if you're not like into indie music, or like if you don't care for that genre, you won't really care for this album. But this album, like, I swear it makes you feel like you're in a movie. Like, there's just so many songs that you could just go on for a walk, or just drive around in the car, and like, it's perfect. It just fits the mood perfectly. It fits the setting perfectly. This cover art is pretty cool. I think it's the shirt of the lead singer. And when it comes to the back of this record, I was actually really surprised when I first saw this, because You know, it's like a nice like striped shirt, you know, blue and white kind of setup, and then you have like this like trippy. Like at first I thought it was like sand on the beach, or I didn't know what it was at first. I don't even know if you can really see it that well. Oh man, just looking at this track list again. Now this album, no skips, absolutely no skips. So there was this one library that I hung out at when I would like wait for my next class to start, or if I was doing homework. This was when I was in college, and I just remember sitting in that library, staring out the window, like waiting for my next class to start. And this was like the record that I would always listen to when I was sitting in that library. And yeah, this has a lot of good memories for me. Only Friend, great intro. Treacherous Doctor, amazing. I could go through every song, honestly. Silence, great. Are You Bored Yet? Great single. That was one of the more popular songs for sure. Are You Bored Yet? Scrawny, one of my favorite songs for sure. I love that song. The rest of the album is great. Do Not Wait is an amazing outro. And looking in this direction, I was looking at my door and I just noticed. So there was a poster that came in this vinyl. I hung it on my door, so I'm gonna take a picture and put it up for you guys to see. But it's actually like a really unique poster. Just like I think it's all the song lyrics from the album on every single song, just handwritten, just on the poster. And it looks like really like messy, but obviously like they do that on purpose, so it's like kind of cool, you know. We are down to the last album. Whew. This album also, you know, hits home for me when it comes to college, and like another one of my favorite albums for sure. I mean, I think you all know who this guy is. I mean, you might not recognize the album cover because it's different from the actual like album cover art that was like actually released with the album. But man, Post Malone's Beerbongs and Bentleys. Oh my god, I love this album so much. This was like the first album where I actually like I took the time to sit down and listen to it all in one take. And I think this is probably where I really started like appreciating like albums from like start to finish as like a cohesive project, and not just listening to songs randomly or out of order. I mean, I don't even know how people can do that. Like, this is like, you know, you're supposed to listen to an album from start to finish, you know what I mean? So I don't even know how people do that. But as I mentioned, this actually isn't the actual cover art for the actual album. I mean, I love it. I love this in general because I noticed for this album he was really going for like this dark kind of aesthetic. And I mean, he kind of goes there with Hollywood's Bleeding too, but you know, obviously you can see the barbed wire, you know. I think there's like a lot of like skeletons and skulls and dragons associated with this album as well. On the back of the record, it's pretty simple gray and yellow color layout. You have like the song titles on the. I cannot even see that. Song titles on the right. As I mentioned, this was like the first like album that I really took the time to listen to, and so I just remember sitting in my dorm freshman year of college. I think it was like 2018, freshman year of college, and I just remember like my jaw just like being on the floor the whole time listening to this album. It was so amazing, and I was really into Post Malone at the time, and I still am. He just hasn't dropped something in a while, but I really got into Stoney. I know this is not Stoney. I don't know why I pointed to it. I really got into Stoney, you know, my freshman year of college. And then that led into, you know, me getting excited for Beerbongs and Bentleys to come out. And I just remember when he released Psycho for this album, one of the singles. Oh, man. When he released Psycho for this album... Anyway, let's look at what's inside here, because I don't think I hung anything up from this, so there should be some cool stuff in here. Oh, this is cool. This is cool. Like I said, I haven't seen this in a long time, but, like, how have I not hung this up? This is what I was talking about with like the dark aesthetic he was going for, with like skeletons and, you know, dragons and kind of, oh my, and you see the barbed wire wrapped around the horns. I'm gonna hang this up actually. I don't know, how have I not hung this up? You can see like this blade like slicing through the paper. That's a really cool, like blood marks. Actually, I have one of my Post Malone shirts. It's like a yellow shirt and actually has like this actual blade going through the back, and it kind of looks like my back is getting sawed in half, which is, you know, not very pleasant, but I love it. So, oh, I love this one. I love this one. This is probably my favorite disc. I love this actually, like, I don't know why this part looks really nostalgic for me for some reason when it comes to, I don't know why. And this is cool. You have like you have like the skull of an animal right there. And that was like another thing I noticed. Like when he released Psycho, I think like there was some kind of like animal in the cover art for Psycho or something like that. Oh wow. Ooh. That is cool. Oh my goodness. Okay. My man loves dragons. I mean, what can I say? That is so dope. And you have like the PM2 right here. Or no, right? P. Can you even see it? It's so bright. PM2 right there. PM2. To signify that this is his second album. Oh man, I'm so glad I looked at this again. This is so cool. And honestly, like, if you guys like this kind of content and me just talking about my musical influences and like what I listened to growing up and just stories like this, I guess, because like honestly, like I don't mind because there's a lot more vinyls I want to get. With that being said, that is the last vinyl that I have to show you guys. As I mentioned, like for a while I had like a list of vinyls that I wanted to collect and I still want to collect, but I mean, if you guys like this content, I am all for getting more vinyls and, you know, making update videos. And I mean, I think I want to get more anyway, just because that was just really fun to look at in general. I would love to hear about your guys' vinyl collection or just what you guys are listening to now. I've done a pretty good job of like trying to find new music to listen to without like the same stuff that I've been listening to, like getting repetitive and stuff like that. Hope you guys are doing good. Hope you guys are staying safe out there. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video. And see ya.